So we have the last, I was saying that we're gonna wait till 5:05 just to give the chance to everyone to get in. And then we're gonna start because I have a small presentation for you. We're gonna go over a little bit of hat history of the straw hats, and then we're gonna get into the actual topic. So talking about cleaning and maintaining of the hats. So let's like wait the last minute. We're almost there.
So I'll say hi to all these people I don't know. I see Nicola and Cheryl and Rose and Mary. Hello all.
Hi, Tobias.
Hello.
I'm in London, Ontario.
And are you a hat wearer and a hat maker, or both?
Hat wearer and lover. So not maker as of yet, but
Excellent. Maintainer. Anyway. Very fun.
Okay, so I would say that we can start, and then if someone comes in later, just gonna maybe place a hold to the presentation, and I'm gonna let him in, okay?
Certainly.
Perfect. So I'm going to share with you this small PowerPoint, and as I was saying, towards the end we're gonna have a Q&A. So share the screen. Okay. Can everyone see the thing correctly?
Yes.
Looks good.
Perfect. If there is anything, just yell at me, just stop me, say something. Okay, so hi everyone. If I don't know if every one of you knows me, but my name is Bertacchi, and I'm one of the family members here at Capelleria Bertacchi, so the Italian hat maker. It's a pleasure to have you here today, and I hope everyone is safe and healthy in this unprecedented situation. But as Justin Trudeau always say every morning, that since every morning since the beginning of this pandemic, we are all in this together. So we have to, try to stick together and go through those hard times. So let's get into that. And during this conversation, we will touch different topics. So we're going to talk a little bit about hat history. We will talk about straw as a material, and then we will get into the hat business. So how we handle the hat, what is the proper way for us to use it? We will also talk about the major problem with hats. With a straw hat, the major problem is dehydration. Then we will get to the most important point, how to clean it. And at the end, we will have, as I said, a Q&A. So please write down your question. And if you have, then I will be more than happy to answer them at the end of the conversation. So, okay, so let's get started. At the beginning, talking about the history, there was the hat. It's actually true. Historians believe that a hat or some kind of hat wear or covering was the first garment ever worn from a human being. This is just to give us some perspective and remind us that straw hat is not just a fashion item, but is firstly designed to be a protective tool. So the first instinct was covering the head to protect from rain, wind, and humidity. This actually makes the hat the evolutionary mother of all garments and accessory items. The origin of the item, of course, is unclear. And even if historians say that this was the first thing that a human being wore, we also have evidence of this deep connection hats and human beings through all our history, starting from the Egyptian sculpture, Chinese ancient drawing, coins of early Greece and Rome. All of those are evidence that hat has always been a mark of rank of an important person. In its evolution of importance, the importance of the hat as a representation of a rank in society and also a protective tool, they both merge together. And together, today, with sunglasses, they are not just one of the, they are just not just one of the most needed accessories to use as a protection against the sun's harmful UV rays. It's also a key of a successful outfit. A piece of elegance can make the difference in between being noticed or being remembered. Now, the key question is why straw? Why not another material? There are three reasons behind this decision in ancient time. So the first one is availability. You can grow it basically everywhere. It's light and really flexible. And then is protection factor. You have a strong protection shield, not just against sunlight, wind, and humidity, but also against water. And it's true, it's also waterproof. Actually, in Japanese history, there was a garment, rice straw was used to make raincoats. And you can see an example here, the Mino. Of course, one of the downsides of this material is the fact that over time it dries out, becoming less elastic and more fragile. Over the centuries, hat makers and artisans tried to extend the durability of this material. The problem is that once the straw gets cut off the plant, it starts drying. So on top of this, while you use the hat under the sun, this protects you from as a shield from the UV light and the heat. But this exposure over time will cause the straw to slowly dry and eventually to lose elasticity. And this will make the hat to crack. In few words, dehydration is the key problem in the hat care. So are we doomed? What can we do in order to extend the lifetime of our hat? So the first step is change some of our habits. So we have some fantastic video that I made together with my assistant, and I actually would like to introduce him to you. I apologize, always late. Here he is. But now let's get to the hat business. So how do we handle the hat? The first suggestion to handle your hat with clean hands, at least as much as we can. I know that is not easy, but we should at least try. Also because everything that is on your fingers, it will transfer on the hat. The other important thing is avoiding to pinch the hat. I know that that is a habit that everyone has, and it's kind of an instinct, but if we could try to change this habit, we might get to a balanced situation where we maybe just do it half of the time. And this would help stretching your hat's lifetime really a lot. So now that we got the first tip, the question is how we actually put our hats on. In this video, my assistant is giving a nice example that is good for any gender and any kind of hat. This is the right way. So you hold the hat from the brim, place it on your forehead, and then push it towards the back until it's going to get to a stop. Here, this is your perfect spot. But don't forget that the hat is the key for your style. You should always put your style first and wear the hat on your own unique way. Okay, so now getting into the core of this class, the practical part. So let's start from something we mentioned before, the rehydration of a straw hat. As we said, we need to rehydrate our hat in order to extend his lifetime. The first step is to be sure that we have a natural straw hat and not a synthetic straw hat version. This is quite easy to do. You just need to read the inside label of your hat and you will know. Do not be scared if you read that it's a paper hat. A paper hat is not actually what you would think it is. This gets behind the purpose of this class, but just let me tell you that with paper hats, we mean a specific kind of resin that it gets synthesized from rice. And actually, it's becoming more and more popular for its feature. It's durable, it's elastic, it's cheaper than a natural straw. In any case, we will talk about this matter in a further workshop. Getting back on track, as soon as you assess that your hat is 100% natural straw, you can decide how to proceed with the hydration. To hydrate your hat, you would need a vaporizer and our hydration product, or you can use still water. Water is perfectly fine. It always has been the product, the most available product for centuries. So why should we use our product if water is so amazing? So the reason is simple. As we found new ways to treat the straw in order to make it more elastic and durable, we are currently looking for a new way to preserve the straw for a longer time. So our product has been designed to be exactly this. It has water and an hydration component that maximize the results and give you the best results possible. So our product comes already with the vaporizers too. And you can find it in our location or purchase it online. By the way, the online store will be available on May the 1st. So after this commercial, I'm sorry for that, let's get back on track. And once you decide what to use, and as I said, you can definitely use natural water, it's totally fine. You gently spray the solution over the hat, as you can see in this video. You don't need to make it wet. Just spray it over the surface, and that just would do the job. Then you just leave your hat resting, and it will absorb the solution deep into the fiber. So one tip is to use the hat. Don't use the hat for the next few hours. If you use the hat right away under the sun, you are actually damaging the hat because the water that you just spray on top of the hat will evaporate under the sun, drying the hat further. So my suggestion is to spray the hat in the evening and then let it absorb overnight. So now that your hat is nice and hydrated, we can pass to the cleaning chapter. So there are so many things that can go wrong with a hat. It can get stained with water, with whatever, from grass, your hands, wine, coffee, million of other things. And you are very lucky because we have the solution for basically almost all of them. Unfortunately, we can talk about every single trouble that we can get our hat into this class. So we're taking the 3 most common trouble, and for anything else, or if you're having trouble with this instruction, you can always book a free consultation on our website, and this option will be available in May as well. Or you can just send a message on Facebook, or we are launching a dedicated group on our Facebook page where we can discuss this matter, and I'm going to invite you all those to this. So, but as I said, we are always available. We can assess together what's the best course of action, and we can give you the best advice possible on the spot. So the 3 main stains that we will review today are grease, sweat, and makeup. So our first customer here is grease. For grease, I mean the one the kind of stain that your hat gets from your fingers. Although it would be better to handle your hat with clean hands, this is not always possible, and eventually it will happen that you will get some grease on your hat. So to clean this, we will need our secret solution. We will need to have a mix of 50% peroxide water, the one that you see in the video, and natural water. And we need to mix them together in equal parts. So it's 50% and 50%. Once you mix them together, we are going to need a couple of other tools. So a soft brush and at least 1 clean cloth. Those 2 items are essential because we're going to use the brush to work the stain, and then we're going to use the clean cloth to remove everything out. And that is something that we're going to see into the next video. So let's try this out. The first step is that you need to locate the stain. So you need to isolate the stain, you identify what it is, and then using the toothbrush, you have to start gently brushing over the stain. This should last no more than 20-25 seconds. Then using the clean cloth, firmly rub the surface to take the grease out. And we're gonna see that in just 1 second, because I was just like trying to get the stain really out of it. And yeah, here is the clean cloth. Just rub firmly, and you see how all the grease is coming out. As soon as you have done, you should be able to evaluate the outcome of your work. Firstly, you will see if there is any residue on the hat, and afterwards, you can check the stained residue on your cloth. Okay, there is an exception. So if you have a color straw hat, sometimes you have like a black straw hat or a pink straw hat, you have to be extra careful, because we don't know what kind of dyeing process has been used to dye that straw. So you don't want to end up taking out the color and the stain. You just want to take out the stain. So you have to be sure that the two things are not, the solution that you're using not too strong. So my suggestion is to try first on a small high hidden spot in order to verify if the hat is losing color or not. Another suggestion is not to go over 3 runs of cleaning. If you do more, you can damage the straw. If your stain just fades, or you're not happy with any of the result that you obtained so far, it can be a multiple things. So my suggestion is always to get in touch with us, and we might gonna be able to help. The thing is that each stain has its own history and its own personality, and we have to act on a case-by-case approach. The case study that we are presenting here are a general situation that should work in 90% of cases. But as Murphy's law teaches, the unexpected happen more often than what you would expect. So our next guest is a sweat. In a hot sunny day, we all experience the same trouble. We all sweat a little bit. To clean this stain, we will need our secret solution, the one that we prepared before. In this case, you will act in the same way as for the grease. So we won't show the same video, but we just work the fabric in the same way. What is different here is the approach to the hat. It's very likely that your stain is sitting close to your sweat band because it's coming from your forehead. It might have affected your band, as we don't know that yet. So as a first step, you should take your band out in order to avoid taking the color of the band out and avoiding to have then any residue of the headband color on your hat. As you can see in the video, you have to be extra careful taking the stitching point out. We do not want to damage the band. Once you took the band out, you can wash it. You see it in the video, you just get ready, and then the first step is rinsing the band with some water, and then you need to add 1 drop of sorry, I'm missing the point, of dish soap. And as you can see,
a gentle solution.
Yeah, a gentle solution. Yeah, just 1 drop. It's more than enough. And then we're just using your hand. You're just gonna let it. You work it, and you're just gonna clean it. The water, it doesn't need to be hot or to be cold. It just needs to be a little bit warm. And then rinse it and let it dry out. At this point, we're not going to see the video, but I'm going to explain you what we do. As we saw in the previous video, we're going to take all this stain. So what you need to do is the same procedure. You start from the outside of the hat. You dip your toothbrush in the solution and then start a gentle brush that should last no more than 20-25 seconds. Using the stand, using the clean cloth, firmly rub the surface to take out all the sweat. As soon as you have done, you should be able to evaluate the outcome of your work. If you need, you can do it again. And now you can check inside. So as soon as you have done outside, you just flip the hat, and you start moving inside. You might gonna need to let the hat dry to see the real outcome, because when the hat is wet, you might not gonna really see the final result. In case the stain is really, it doesn't get away completely, as I said, just give us a ring, get in touch with us, and we're gonna help you from there. It's a free consultation. It just, sometimes there are multiple things that can just go wrong. So the last kind of stain that we're gonna see today is the makeup. So for makeup, we will need our magic formula, once again, a toothbrush and a clean cloth. Better a white clean cloth. And for this particular procedure, we're gonna need an extra piece of cloth. Now it's been 3 times that we've been using the same formula. So 50% peroxide water and 50% water. This is because this is like a really good solution. It's really delicate, a 50% kind of dilution, but it allows us to take the dirt out of the fabric. Then we're gonna see in the next slide, we're gonna see if we need to be a little bit more aggressive. There is another solution that we can use, and I'm gonna show you that right after. What really changed here is the approach to the stain, as I said before, and because we want to avoid any color losses, because we are working inside the hat. So it's going to be probably, your makeup stain is going to probably be sitting on your sweatband. So what I would suggest is to place, and you see here that where we have is a light stain, but it's a stain that is sitting exactly into the sweatband. And we're gonna take our solution as usual, and all our items, so the brush and the two pieces of cloth. And now we're gonna see why, because we have to place one of them underneath the band to protect the band, the water to go through the band and touching the hat. So as you can see, we place the clean cloth underneath the band, between the band and the hat. Then using our toothbrush, we dip it first into the magic solution and then start a gentle brush. That is gonna last 20-30 seconds per spot. Usually those kind of stains are kind of stretching along line. So we're gonna need like to maybe do section by section in multiple moments. After you've done that, you still need to use a clean cloth and rub it against the band. You can do this as many times as needed, because differently, if you remember, so far I told you that you should not do it more than 3 times. That is because straw, when you just rub the straw with a piece of cloth, you can damage it. You can damage the straw. In this case, we are working with cotton because the sweatband is very likely to be cotton. So we're gonna need something. We can work that out a little bit more, and just gonna give you more room to work that out. But anyway, if you notice some change, like in the color or whatever, that makes you suspicious, please just get in touch with us. There's a consultation service, is free, and we can just talk about what's happening and what we can do. And as I said, as you can see in the video, I'm doing that multiple times. So with this procedure, you're gonna be able to remove the stain in like 90% of the cases. But there are cases where the stain is really troubling. So there is one more step we can do. So firstly, we will need to make a stronger solution. So to improve the solution a little bit more and make it a little bit stronger and more effective. So what we would need is just we start with a little bit of water, and then we add a drop or 2 of dish soap. This is perfect against oily stains. So by nature, dish soap, it just works with oil-based kind of stain. So using the toothbrush, then we're gonna remove it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's the second video. So remember to place a clean piece of cloth in between the sweatband and the hat. Even though you're doing this, it's always good to remember that, because you don't want to, for the stain or the dirt to get out, get into and fade into the hat. So using the toothbrush, we start a gentle brushing for 20-30 seconds. And once again, we use the clean cloth and rub the surface until we take all the residue out. You should be able to verify the progress right away. You can apply this solution multiple times, and I would be surprised if at this time it wouldn't work. This is like an atomic bomb for us. It's like it's the ultimate kind of solution. It's really strong. We usually don't go further than this. We don't usually use any other product that is really stronger than this. Okay, so we got to the end. We have seen the 3 different kind of stains. We have cleaned them, the 3 different kind of stains. So I'm sure that if you have questions, I'm ready to answer those. Hi, Beth.
So Addy, it's Tobias.
Yeah.
The hat that I'm specifically interested in is an authentic Panama hat from Ecuador,
Yeah.
a superfini, so a high-end hat, very fine. And so everything you've talked about tonight is suitable for that type of a cleaning, specifically a sweatband cleaning of that hat.
It is. It is perfect. With the Panama hat, of course, it's Panama hat is more like a delicate kind of straw. And when we're talking about a super fino, we're talking about a really delicate kind of thing. You don't want to damage it in any way. So what I would suggest is like when you rub it, just go really gently. Just start gently. There is always room to go more firmly and strongly, but start on the low side, and then you can go for incremental. For an incremental approach. But if you get in trouble, just give us a call.
Absolutely.
It's easy. And we can check it out for sure. Any other question?
I wanted to talk about a hat that's gotten quite dried out.
Yeah.
So I have a nice hat here. It's almost brittle. Like when I travel with it, I'm scared I'm going to crack it. Yeah. So can I feed it quite a bit?
Absolutely. So the best way is that you need to rehydrate. So the best idea is that you have to rehydrate your heads since the beginning. So basically, you're not really going to get in trouble, right? Because once the straw inside gets dry, it's not something that we can really recover. We can't really just reverse time, right? But if you, from now on, you're careful, and every other week, we are talking about summertime, so when you are actually using it. So every other week, you spray some water. It's something that you can reverse. You can't really reverse, but you can make it just stabilize the situation.
Okay, so then, sort of leather, I guess, in a way.
Yep. And there is another thing, actually. So if you start noticing that in some places start cracking, there is something that you can do there too. Because once it cracks, once those fibers just break, there is nothing we can do. It's broken. It's done. But there is a moment before where you can actually, if you identify the place where those cracks are coming are going to happen, we can do something there. And I think we're going to talk about this later on in another webinar, focus more on repair. But if you get into that situation, we just can look at that together, and I can give you a couple of other advice. It's something you can do home. It's not something that's crazy that you can do home.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect.
When you talk about the peroxide, are you just talking the normal peroxide that you buy from the drugstore, or are you diluting it before you dilute it again?
No, I'm talking about the one that you buy at the drugstore or in any pharmacy, and then you dilute them.
Okay.
So that it has to be diluted at least at 50%.
Okay, at least 50%. So 1 to 1.
1 to 1, 50%. I was talking with, there was a question in this same webinar that we had with in Italy this morning, and someone asked me for, because she was working on a color hat, on a hat that was black. And she said, I'm afraid that if I use this solution, I'm just gonna take the color out. And I said, you're totally correct. So if you are afraid, that your hat is gonna get damaged, you can always start, as I said before for the Panama hat, you just start from the low side. So instead of going to a 50% dilution, go to a 25% dilution.
Yeah.
So 1/4.
We start at 10 to 1 and work our way up at a black hat.
Yeah. Just, you know, you can always increase. You cannot go back. So my suggestion is like, it's something that generally speaking, so for the purpose of this course, this class, I would say 50% is fine, because it's the one that we use in the store. But we have a certain kind of experience too. So if you are starting or you want to try, I would start on the low side. So start with a more diluted, and then just go with incrementally if you need to. You maybe just try one time.
So,
go.
So Addy, if you're concerned about color leaching from your hat, and you use a solution, even a weak solution, how long would one like? What is it? An immediate effect, or how long would one wait to see have I leached color from my hat? Like, is there a day or 2 days or immediate effect from the peroxide?
You mean how to see the color loss, or you're talking about taking
color loss. Have I damaged my hat? Will I know immediately if I bleached color?
You know immediately.
Like if it's a black hat and I've used peroxide, will I know immediately, or is it a wait for 6 hours and see?
You just need to wait until it dries out.
Oh, it dries out. See.
Once it dries out, it's done. It's just, you're gonna see what happens. You're gonna see if it's damaged or not.
Okay.
But usually, if you start on the low side, it's really, really rare. It's just, to be honest with you, it never happened to me. With a straw hat, it never happened to me. It never happened that I got really stained in a way that it's damaged, right? What you have to keep in mind, though, is that we're talking about hats that have been worn for a long time, 1, 2, 10 years. And what happened with those kind of hats, if they've been, been dyed, the color, the interaction with sun and color, it may cause a change in the color structure. So what happened is that when you clean it, it might going to affect the final result. So the color might, what I was trying to say is that the color might going to be a little bit unstable.
I understand. Yeah. See. So can I ask the group, when I first joined, someone asked if I was a hat maker or just a hat lover, but for all of you who are here, are you hat makers or hat lovers?
Hat lovers.
A hat lover.
Yeah.
Lovers?
I'm a hat lover, but I also work with costumes, so I've done a lot of maintenance. I don't make them, but I work.
So maintenance up.
In film, yeah, with costumes.
That's cool. That's cool. I hope it was an interesting class for you too.
Yes, there's a lot of maintenance, as you can imagine. It's not glamorous.
Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine.
Everything to do with hats is glamorous, Nicola.
So fun.
Okay, perfect. I hope you enjoyed the class. And as I said, we're gonna have this group inside our Facebook page. Or for anything you need, just don't feel shy. You can ask. And as I said, you can always book like a free consultation. We're going to have a section on our website, but we're going to announce it at the beginning of May. Kind of a spoiler alert.
And Adi, you're changing locations. So when I was in Vancouver last, you had shut down, and I know you're changing, but given the dynamics of what we're all experiencing right now, you're looking at a new location very soon.
We are. We actually, we closed our location at the end of February, and then we were planning to stay closed the month of March in order to reopen at the beginning of April. But then while we would actually sign in the contract, the new contract, we got a location on Water Street, and these pandemic showed up, and we just could freeze everything so we could rethink and replan, because now everything is like, it's insane. We have no idea what's going to happen.
Okay.
But we're going to be here. No worries. We're going to be here. We're not going to move anywhere.
I look forward to seeing you when I travel next to Vancouver, and nice to see everyone tonight and learning.
Yes.
Thank you guys for being here and spending this time with us. And I hope you enjoy it. And as I said, if you have any questions, we are always available.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.